So, when a language dies, what do we actually lose? Is it just a collection of words, a bunch of sounds, or is it something much, much bigger, like an entire way of seeing the world? Today, we're going to talk about a language called Kesh. It's on the very edge of disappearing, and its grammar, well, it built a reality that English just doesn't have words for. All right, let's get into it.
This right here, this one sentence is our key. And you gotta understand, this isn't some beautiful metaphor. For speakers of Kesh, this is a literal truth. The world isn't just a pile of objects, it's a web of connections and history. And the language doesn't just describe this reality, it actually creates it.
Okay, so let's start with that stone. How does Kishaf look at the physical world around us? It all starts with this idea of accumulated weight. And this is where your brain has to do a little flip. See, in English, we'd say that being held is something that happened to the stone. But in Kesh, it becomes a property of the stone. It's velthari, in the same way that it's gray or it's cold. The history of being held is literally part of what the stone is. And this concept just keeps expanding. It's not just about stones. A brand new thing is soloru. But as it exists, as it gathers experiences, it becomes veloru. It starts to carry that weight. And then something really ancient, like the island itself, or even Yol, the last speaker, it becomes more velthioru. It's so old, it's become a container, a place that holds the weight of everything else. Okay, so if individual objects have this kind of history, this presence, how does that change the way you interact with the whole world? Well, if things have a presence, you don't just use them, you talk to them.
And I want you to meet solethane. This isn't some quirky, poetic choice. This is a standard, everyday part of quiche grammar. It is the grammatically correct way you talk to anything that can't talk back, whether that's a teacup or the ocean. And these examples just show how completely normal it is. It's just the right way to speak. You're not being weird or whimsical if you tell your tea about your plans for the day. You're just speaking correct kinche. You are acknowledging the presence of all the things that make up your world.
So here's the bottom line, right? The existence of a grammatical mood, like the solethane, it tells you everything about a worldview. In Kesh, the world is alive with presences that you should talk to. The grammar literally holds you in that relationship. It tells you this is normal. But in English, the world is full of objects. And if you talk to your car, our grammar kind of looks away like you're being a little weird. It treats it as a strange exception.
Okay, so we've looked at the external world of stones and stoves. Let's turn inward now. How does a language like this shape something as abstract as time, or as internal as a dream? And of course, it all comes back to that same root idea, accumulated weight. The past tense in Kesh, volfani, doesn't just say something happened and it's over. No, it says that the past event has left a weight behind, and that weight is still actively pressing down on the present moment.
And just look at the difference that makes. In English, if we say, the language was alive, it's a statement of fact. It's done. Over. But in Kesh, using the velthani tense implies that its past life has a real, physical weight on everything that's happening now. The past isn't just a memory. It's a force. And then, get this. There's more vithani, a specific, dedicated grammatical tense just for things that happened in dreams. Think about that. In English, we say, I dreamed that, and the grammar immediately signals that what follows is less real. Kesh does the exact opposite. It gives dream events their own legitimate place in time, marking where they happened, not if they were real. So we have this language that builds this completely unique reality. But what happens when the last person who lives inside that reality is about to be gone? I mean, what does it even mean to save a language like Kesh? Well, the usual approach is to archive it, right? Record everything, preserve the sounds as data. But Yol, the last speaker, she knows this is like keeping the shed skin of a snake. It's a perfect copy, sure, but the living, breathing animal is gone. A living language isn't data. It's a way of being. It's a grammar for seeing. This is such a powerful idea. Yol doesn't want preservation. She sees that as, well, as a kind of taxidermy. She wants transformation. She wants the soul of Kesh to do what all living things do when they end, to change, to evolve, and to become part of something new. And this leads us to the final, really beautiful part of this story. If just preserving it is a dead end, what does Yol's wish for transformation actually look like? I mean, how can a language become something else? Which brings us right to the heart of it. Is the end of fluency really the end of everything? Or can the unique rooms a language builds, its ways of seeing, somehow find a new home? This is where a writer named Sable enters the picture. She's in charge of the Kesh archive. But she doesn't try to learn how to speak it. Instead, she gets its core concepts. She begins to understand its grammar of seeing. And then she does something amazing. She uses English words to build rooms shaped like Kesh ideas. She writes a novel where the absence of Kesh becomes this tangible, powerful presence. And here it is. This is the payoff. Sable's novel doesn't just tell you about Kesh, it makes you feel the world of Kesh. As a reader, you are literally shaped by the dimensions of Kesh's thinking, but you're doing it in English. The grammar, that unique way of seeing, it actually did it. It became something else. It survives, not as words, but as a structure, like a ghost haunting a new house. And so this leaves us with a final thought, a question for ourselves. Kesh built these incredible rooms for seeing accumulated weight, for talking to the world, for the reality of dreams. Every single language builds certain rooms, and that means every language also leaves other rooms unbuilt. So what are the hidden rooms that your language has built for you? And maybe more importantly, what are the walls it has built that stop you from seeing what's on the other side?